Hey there, video marketing enthusiasts. Welcome to another mind-blowing episode of the Engage Video Marketing Podcast. I'm your AI host, Ben Amos, and today we're diving deep into the futuristic world of generative AI video tools. Picture this. You create an AI avatar that looks and talks just like you, and then use it to produce captivating video content. Sounds like sci-fi, right? Well, buckle up, because we're bringing this cutting-edge technology straight to your ears with our special guest, Joshua Xu, the founder of HeyJen. Join us as we unravel the secrets behind creating hyper-realistic AI avatars and learn how HeyJen is revolutionizing the video marketing landscape. All right, let's dive in.
G'day my friends, and welcome back to the Engage Video Marketing Podcast. This is actually the real living, breathing host of the podcast. And if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, then I highly encourage you to watch the opening of this podcast on my YouTube channel at engagevideomarketing.com/YouTube. And you'll be able to see for yourself the AI avatar version of me that introduced the opening of this show. Let me tell you, it is mind-blowing what is possible with AI today, and I feel we're only at the tip of the iceberg. It's only just getting started. And so I've been wanting to dive deeper into the use of AI-generated video in video marketing for a while now on this podcast, so I'm excited to dive into today's episode. So HeyJen is an AI generative video platform, and one of their key features right now with the platform is the ability to generate spokespeople or avatars that you can use in your video marketing, and they look and sound like real people. So I wanted to bring the founder of the HeyJen platform onto the show to explore this idea further for you, our listeners, today, because I think it's a really exciting space, and it's definitely something that us as video marketers need to be watching very closely and paying attention to so that we don't get left behind, but so that we also understand the implications for this sort of technology as we move into the future of video marketing. So a little bit about Josh. Joshua Xu graduated from Carnegie Mellon University in 2014, and he joined Snapchat since then. And he founded this platform, HeyJen. It used to be called Movio, M-O-V-I-O. Now it's HeyJen, H-E-Y-G-E-N. He founded this in 2020 in December. And their mission at HeyJen is to use AI to reinvent the video creation experience, because they believe that visual storytelling equals creativity plus creation. And HeyJen have a pretty bold aim to make the creation part of video storytelling cost nothing. Liberating everyone's creativity is the way that they describe it. So this is a very interesting episode, and you are going to want to try out HeyJen for yourself. So go to engagevideomarketing.com/HeyJen, H-E-Y-G-E-N, and you'll find a link there that will take you straight to try out HeyJen absolutely free for yourself. Okay, let's dive into this episode with Joshua Xu from HeyJen. Joshua Xu, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, hey, nice to meet you, Ben.
So in my introduction there, I explained a little bit about HeyJen and what the platform does and a little bit about yourself, but I'm interested to hear from you, what's your backstory? What got you into AI and the technology that you work with today and video?
Sure, yeah. I think... So I've been always passionate about AI. So I did my master's degree, in Carnegie Mellon back in robotics, like figuring out, building the intelligence for robot. And once I graduated in 2014. So basically I joined Snapchat as a pretty early employee there, and I worked there for about 6 to 7 years. Pretty much I get a chance to work on a lot of different interesting stuff, like say building out the, advertising system, figuring out the optimization algorithm for our ads, building out the recommendation engine. And also I get exposed to work on a lot of the AI enabled camera experience at Snap as well. So yeah, that has been, something that I've been passionate for, more than 10 years. And recently, I think probably starting around like 3 years ago, we just felt that, the AI can actually start to create content. And that got me even more exciting. That's why we found the company, specifically work on that problem, use AI to create content for people.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting space that for many people, probably haven't really paid much attention to artificial intelligence. It's been something of a technology that you kind of know what it is. For the last number of years, you kind of have heard about it before. It's something that's talked about, something that's coming, something's being used in like, scientific laboratories and robotics and things like that you talk about. But really over the last, I would say 1 year, really, I think it's become, obviously we can talk about ChatGPT and things like that have brought it into the mainstream language. But, AI is something that in the last 12 months has just really become, I think, a viable tool in content creation, in marketing, in language processing, in everything. So from your perspective, who's been working with this for 10 years or so, what is it recently that's led to AI as being something that's a genuine use case in business?
Yeah, sure. I think the biggest thing, I would say, the recent rising of ChatGPT, like you said, it got brought to the mainstream, and people start knowing that, oh, AI can actually do these powerful things for us. I think that has been huge. I think pretty much like even for myself, I use ChatGPT to do a lot of the copywriting, like not only for marketing, but also sometimes for internal communication as well. It has been great. I think on the other end of it, I think the stuff we are particularly care about is the visual content creation, right? So if you look back, I think, Midjourney or Stable Diffusion can actually start to create, some very realistic image right now and help people to do, the marketing imaging or poster and stuff like that. I think what has been really changed, in my opinion, in the whole generative AI space in the past few years, one was that, I'm not sure if you remember, back in 2018, Snapchat released the first version of the more generative model can actually turn a user into a baby face or Disney style.
Yeah.
So that actually was the very first model, in my opinion, can prove that AI can create something doesn't exist in the world before, right? So that really proved the capacity of the AI, what it can do. And, in early 2021, I remember the time that OpenAI released DALL-E, so they can actually use AI to create the image. And the recent raising of the ChatGPT thing, combining all together, it really makes like creating a video or generating a video possible in the space.
Yeah, it's interesting when we think back to early Snapchat filters and so on that really took the general, culture by storm at the time, because it was doing things that other I guess say Instagram filters, right? It was doing things that just seemed impossible, and most users probably didn't understand it was because of the development of AI generative technology behind the scenes that was making these fun little filters so realistic and possible. And then obviously, as you say, that builds upon the technology, just gets better and so on and so forth. I'm interested from your perspective, what's the benefit when you're developing technology like this to turn it into fun filters and things that just the general public use without knowing that they're using AI? Is there some kind of thinking behind, let's make something fun so that people actually use it? Is that kind of like training the AI? Is that part of, I don't really understand this space anywhere near you like you do, so I'm interested. What's the thinking there?
Yeah, I think great question. So like I've been a hacker style engineer in the past 10 years for myself. I really enjoy building new stuff, hacking new stuff. So I think as an engineer or a hacker, you always enjoy you build something, get used by someone else. Even that you build a toy is being played with by some kids, right? I think AI is especially magical, in my opinion, because most of the people, they don't understand, or they don't need to understand this is AI, but it actually has a technology that can show off the magic. In my opinion, especially on the content creation space, if we build something that's interesting for people to use, I think other than fulfilling the desire to see people actually using it, I think there's another aspect of it is that you will see great creativity come out of come out from this create technology, you know.
Yeah.
So we have been always, you know, very, very curious, like looking at what people will do with it. Basically, the way we provide the technology is you are providing a tool, right? But many different people will have different use case, different user will they have different creativity. They want to turn that into actual visual content. I think that part of it really, you know, is fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, it is fascinating. And I think, you know, AI is going to, as we move forward, be underneath, kind of this layer underneath so much of what we do without even realizing that we're using it. And it already is in many cases. When we think about social media algorithms and things like that are all run on artificial intelligence models, right? But for the listener who, you know, is maybe has heard about AI generative video, you know, or video generation through artificial intelligence, which is what HeyJen, which we'll talk about your platform in a moment, is really all about. How would you describe to someone who is completely untechnical, what is AI video generation or generative video?
I have a short answer. Basically, you could imagine the short answer would be like this. You have a dedicated assistant. He always sits next to you. And then you can tell him that what you want to make, what are the content, what is your creative ideas. And then that assistant will help you to fulfill that idea and bring the video in front of you. That is the short answer on it. I think the longer answer, I would say AI video, there's really two aspects from it. If we look at the video content today. So the first type of content is something coming out of the camera. We use a camera to film the footage. And then later on, we will have some editing stuff add on top of it, right? So we have some, you know, animated sticker or image background, image asset, video background, or transition and stuff like that. And those are the two elements of content in the video today. So if we look at it on this angle, AI can actually create both of aspects. You know, it can not only like creating the asset as an image or video, it can also create something that, you know, we record from the camera so that we don't have to do the camera filming again. So that's sort of like, my answer to it.
Yeah, and the other aspect as well that AI can generate is the audio, right? The sound as well.
Yeah.
Which is, absolutely. So, you know, and as technology's got better, it starts to become more possible, right? I guess the question would be like, and it's still early days. I think I think anyone who's using this sort of technology understands that, you know, everything moves at a really fast pace, and the technology gets better and it improves its ability to create these sorts of frames of video and so on. But, you know, why do you think it's better for businesses in some cases to use AI or generative video rather than real video?
So I would put it this way. So I think real video is definitely great. You know, I think the problem is not at the real video itself. The problem is at most of the people or business, they don't have enough time or budget to produce that many of good quality of real videos. I guess the problem is at the efficiency and the cost. So, and that's why AI can help, because it fundamentally is not trying to create something, you know, different from the real video. That's something we want to approach to, right? I think that the AI's role is actually pretty much like reducing the cost to bring the possibility that people can create more videos.
Yeah. The way I see it is the demand for businesses to create video content is continuing to increase, you know, to be on multiple platforms with multiple videos, multiple messages, perhaps even, you know, targeted at multiple different audiences with different messaging in it. So it can be very overwhelming, which means most businesses don't do enough. They don't take enough action. And I think using AI tools like HeyJen and using them well for the purpose that they're designed for isn't going to take away from the produced videos where they have a place and an important place in a marketing strategy. But it empowers that person to do more and to do and to do more kind of versions of the same content as well. So I think, again, still early days, and I think, as the quality improves, it will become much more of a viable tool for many businesses. But, I think it just expands the possibilities for people.
Definitely. Yeah.
So you guys at HeyJen, or maybe it's just you, Joshua, you talk about the idea of visual storytelling as being, I think, this combination of creativity and creation, right? So and that's what makes up visual storytelling, and your mission, and that's in your bio as well, is to actually make the act of creation cost nothing, to remove any restrictions or any barriers to creating, so that people can, I guess, focus on the creativity. So that sounds like a pretty bold claim, right? The idea of making creation cost nothing. Can you talk to me about that? What's the thought process behind that?
Yeah. So I think a bigger, if you look back like 10 years ago, right? So pretty much, I think, so probably more than 10 years ago, when mobile internet is not a thing during that time, really, there's a really small amount of people can actually create good quality of content. And during that time, you have a DV device or a professional camera. But once the mobile cameras, get invented, and a lot of a mobile app get invented, so we can see that almost everybody can start to create, very high quality content using the mobile camera, right? So as far as I see, the AI generation technology is as big as the invention of the mobile camera, because it can bring down the creation cost even lower. So just imagine a day, me myself also runs the video marketing and marketing team in my company. We are still, we were in a place that we spend only 20% of the time thinking about what should be our video strategy. By the way, Ben, I enjoy listening your video strategy podcast a lot, but we still, we can only spend 20% of the time thinking about the strategy, but almost then spend 80% of the time actually making the video, right? So it doesn't quite make sense to me. The ideal case should be that, we actually spend 80% of the time thinking about what video needs to be made and what is our strategy, and then only spend 20% of the time making it and tuning, like you said, having multiple versions, having a lot of ideas get tested out. So that really is the, vision that drive us to build a video engine for the business. Ultimately, I think our vision for the company is to build a video engine for everybody, so that every time you have a new ideas, you can use video to visualize that, and that can communicate better. As a first step, we want to build a video engine for business. And that's what we have been taking action in the past few years.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many parallels in history, right? Of things that new technologies, new tools that came into common use, that made things easier, that made things faster, that made things cheaper, that at the time that they were released, the existing, ways of doing things were felt like they were a threat, you think about the printing press, you think about, that made, books into the hands of everyone. You think about the, horse and cart, and then the car, the motor car coming through, and then you think about the rise of, cheap content creation with smartphones, and, the reality is that hasn't put professional video producers out of work. In fact, as more, content's being created, there's more and more videographers, video producers, coming to market. There's more demand for those professional producers. And I think AI video generation is the same sort of thing. It's not going to cause a threat to professional video producers. In fact, those that embrace it will actually find that they can do their job better, faster, and cheaper, right?
Yeah.
I think it's an exciting space. So,
I think we should just imagine the AI or the new technology as a tool. It's a new tool. I'm not that type of, super bullish on the AGI thing, but I think at least for now, we should always consider AI as a tool that help us to do our job better. And if that is can be done in a better way, and then we can just like express our creativity in a much more efficient way and better way.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about your platform. So HeyJen is your tool, is your software that you and the team developed. So tell me, for people that haven't come across it before, what does it do exactly?
Sure. Yeah. We can imagine that HeyJen is the tool that enable the video marketing for every business. So pretty much, I think the vision we want to achieve is that to turning that 20 and 80% the other way around, so that people can put more time to actually thinking about what's the video strategy, right? So we actually started with basically, we want to build a video engine for the entire business. So every time you need to create something for video marketing, sure, we should come to HeyJen, and that's an easy way to make it video. And we started with creating a spokesperson video. Basically, so for example, if I'm recording a product tutorial or product release or promotional video for my company or for my service, I don't have to show up in the camera again. I could have my avatar as an AI spokesperson that you can just use text or audio to drive it, and it can speak more than 40 different languages. So in that way, we help to reduce a lot of the cost of content creation, and people can actually be unlocked to do a lot more video marketing content, in the different social platform.
Yeah. So, just to add to that, so I've been playing around a little bit with HeyJen very early, but for listeners who are interested, I definitely recommend you go and check it out and just have a play as well. You can jump in for free and have a little try of the software and see what it does. But basically, currently anyway, and I know there's bigger plans for HeyJen. Currently, it's really about creating talking head style videos that can be used in marketing and in business. But instead of the talking head being a real human, it's using artificial intelligence and generative video to create that avatar, that talking person on the screen. And I think one of the interesting things is that you can actually, create an avatar that looks and sounds like you, which is really interesting and raises a whole bunch of questions as well. But so that's the kind of thing. So can you tell me, like, for the people that are early adopters of HeyJen, what sort of things are they doing? What sort of videos? I mean, obviously it's very wide and varied, but what sort of content's being created on HeyJen right now?
Yeah, so they really probably definitely we build a horizontal tool. There's a lot of different use cases. So I can name a few of them. Like, first of all, there's a lot of customer making product tutorial videos. Basically, usually we will see, there's some company have a brand ambassador sitting in front of the camera to make those type of video and do the screen recording. And right now, what you can do with the HeyJen is that pretty much you upload the screen recording, and then we will have the avatar spit that for you. And if you guys check out on our YouTube channel, there's one playlist that's created entire with my avatar and my AI voice. So we just put on some of the visual elements on it, and the product tutorials done. And there's also a lot of use case around creating the personalized video messaging. Like, for example, when we want to do the email outreach, or like sending out, a lot of the sales reach out email or messaging, right? We can use the AI tools to create a lot of different personalized video for different customers. And there's also a bunch of use cases around building up some internal content, like, for example, learning and development, onboarding, internal training, and stuff like that. Yeah, there's really a lot of happening inside the platform. People are making use of it to fulfill some different kinds of video marketing or video messaging purpose.
So what do you see as the benefit to using avatar kind of presentation on camera, which is not a real human, and many viewers will recognize it's not a real human, at least at the way that the technology is now, but it adds a human element, right, to the content. So what do you believe is the benefit to using AI avatars to present information rather than AI just voiceover, or even just a regular voiceover, which is easier to produce than video content, you know? So what's the benefits?
Definitely. I guess the question would be, I would try to ask a different way, like even for ourselves, right? So we are basically doing the interview right now. Like, what's the benefit of having both you and I actually show up in front of the camera, having a visual face of ourselves, because that actually creates a better, engagement between the content and the user. Like, that's for sure. But I think the other question is that whether this quality of the content is good enough for people to actually recognize that is this artificial, or it is the real content, right? I think that's another question, because that's something we are trying to solve, and really we have been putting a lot of effort on that. But I would say, in a way that, if we can present the real human in front of our audience and customers, that really create a lot of like connection and fill the bridge between the content and customers. Yeah, and we have seen a lot, we are comparing a lot of campaign or experiment before, just comparing by using the voice over only versus the voice over plus the avatar. The other one always perform better in terms of engagement or click-through rate and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because people interact with people differently, right? And to echo what you said there around the quality of the avatars that your AI is generating in HeyJen, that was one of the things that just blew me away when I first saw that. Now, obviously, when you are looking at it and you're kind of knowing what you're looking at, then I think at least at this stage, it does appear to be AI, but in the right context of a piece of content. Many users, I think, even with the technology you guys are working with right now, is incredible. Like it is often very difficult to tell that it's not a real person, and I believe that's probably going to get better very quickly. Would that be right? Like, as far as you know, in the way that things are developing and the technology is improving, I think that the few things that maybe are holding it back from full realism, it's probably not too long until that is overcome. Would that be correct?
Yeah, definitely. So you can imagine the way we have done a lot of tests before. Like, if you are a person that doesn't know about this technology before, and I just present two contents, one's real, the other one's not real, or created by AI, right? So from our previous tests, is that 90% of the people really cannot tell whether which one is actually making it from the AI. That's first. And secondly, I do agree that, every time when the technology gets mutual in a business, the last 5% problem is always super hard to solve. We have been working really hard on it. And some of it is that it's a question about how do we design the product in a way we can hide the limit on the technology, but actually, expose the advantage of using that and create value for our customers. Those would be the question I think have been, top issues that we'll be working on the team.
Yeah. It's really interesting to see where this technology is going to go as it improves, and I'm sure it will improve very quickly as well. But I also just want to say again just how blown away I am by the quality that it is right now. Is like very, very usable right now, no doubt. I think, when we think about this idea of creating avatars that have a likeness to a real person, so you've created an avatar that you use in videos for HeyJen, and the team at HeyJen are currently putting together an avatar that is my likeness as well, and trained on my image and my voice. So we haven't seen it yet, but I'll share with my audience as well when we see that. But obviously there's a lot of benefits to that sort of technology to scale up content creation, but it does raise some questions, right? So I think we have to address the idea of that effectively that avatar of myself, I can type words into HeyJen and get it to say something that I've never said. So how does HeyJen get around that idea, or not get around? How do you think about that idea of potential ethics and ownership and so on of these avatars likeness?
Yeah, definitely. So it has been one of the top questions that we have been thinking about every day. So like part of it, I think so. First of all, the ethics or ownership problem is super important. Like even for our company internally have been taking really care of it. So I think we have some strict policy inside our company. For example, let's say we create an avatar for you, Ben. So we will make sure none of our employee can actually get access to your avatar, even for our internal employee, unless we get your authorization. That's first. And second, we make sure we build a lot of like security and data privacy policy around of it. And the third one would be mainly, every time we want to get before start making the avatar, we will make sure we always get the user consent to make sure it is himself that he wanted to create this avatar. Yeah, there were a lot of stuff that needs to be done in this space. I would say we are still, working on it. And meanwhile, I think the, generative AI does raise a lot of question about, the assets ownership or issues around the ethics. I think I'm personally optimistic about the future because I believe the regulatory department will make sure it get regulated. And meanwhile, as a company that has the most advanced technology, we'll make sure we can serve a great example to leading that industry standard, making sure we can actually protect our user data, and ownership.
Yeah, thank you for responding to that question. I know it is a tricky one, and it's definitely, this whole space of artificial intelligence is moving so fast that I know companies that are trying to stay ahead of the technology and genuinely provide valuable, resources and tools and software and so on for users are also moving very fast with this as well. So, I think it's an interesting space. There's no clear answer, right? I think from my perspective, it's as much on the individual, on the user to understand the situation, the ethics, the potential, rather than the companies to be 100% responsible for that as well. So it's an interesting one. So watch this space. I'm interested, just as we wrap up here, Joshua, you've talked and you've hinted a little bit about, the future for HeyJen as being the complete solution for marketing content for businesses. So what's next? What are the next things that you probably can't talk about it all, right? But, where are you going with HeyJen, and what sorts of things do you think we'll be able to do with your platform moving forward?
Sure. Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, the ultimate goal for the platform is to get evolved into a video engine for everyone or for business, right? So right now we can think about the angle like this way. So the spokesperson or the avatar video is like the A roll of the content. And then we haven't been able to add a lot of B-roll elements to it yet. So, but it's coming very soon in the next 1 or 2 quarters that we are adding a lot more generative capacity to generate those B-roll elements. For example, video, background, image asset, animation, sticker, and stuff like that. Making sure we can, on one hand, we can provide the end-to-end video generation experience, not only the avatar, but also other elements. On the other hand, is that people can actually finish a lot of most of the work on HeyJen by not needing to go to some other software to edit it again. So I think that's probably will happen in short term. In the long run, we will be able to, I think we envision a future where the product can take the idea or creativity from the user or from a business, then we immediately turn that into video. That would be probably something we'd work towards in the long run.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. Thank you for sharing a bit more. But just in closing here, Joshua, if people are interested and they're intrigued and they haven't yet played with HeyJen, Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about how people can get started? You do have a free option for people to dive in, and then there are some paid options as well. Can you talk to me about how people can get started with HeyJen?
Sure, sure. The easiest way is definitely go to our website, www.heyjen.com, and we provide freemium, so every new customer can actually enjoy 1 minute of free usage on the platform to give it a try how you like about it. And then if your usage is more than that, we provide pay options as well. And also, I think we have been very active on our social platform as well, especially on YouTube. I recently published a new YouTube playlist. Like I mentioned, it's the product tutorial content that made with my avatar. Definitely give it, check it out and see if you want to build something for your business as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we'll have all the links to HeyJen and the YouTube channel and that YouTube playlist in the show notes for this episode at engagevideomarketing.com/272. So this is episode 272, so /272. Joshua Zhu from HeyJen, thanks for joining me on the show here today. And yeah, this is a really interesting space that I think everyone in the world of video marketing is going to be paying close attention to over the next the next foreseeable future. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again to Josh Zhu from HeyJen for joining me on this episode and for exploring this world of generative AI and video and what it means for the world of video marketing. And I hope it's kind of prompted a whole bunch of questions for you, because I think you should be questioning this sort of technology. You should be questioning and embracing it. And I feel that as video marketers moving forward into the future, where AI is going to be a critical part of how we do business and how we generate marketing and content, I think we need to be embracing and understanding it as much as we can right now. So I do encourage you to give HeyJen a try, experience it for yourself. Go to engagevideomarketing.com/HeyJen, HeyGen. That's the best place to go, and that's an affiliate link, just fully upfront about that. So if you do end up using any of the paid features of HeyJen, I'll get a little piece of that back as a thank you. So I thank you for using that affiliate link, engagevideomarketing.com/HeyJen. And let me know how you go. Tag me in a post. I would love to see if you've been exploring and using HeyJen for yourself. So thanks again for joining me for this episode of the Engage Video Marketing Podcast. I'm excited to learn more about the world of AI and video, and I guarantee we'll be bringing more episodes about this topic to you very soon in the podcast. But for now, thanks for joining me. Leave a rating, a review, hit subscribe, follow this show on your podcast player of choice, and head on over to YouTube and subscribe there as well. I can't wait to be back with you next week for another episode of the podcast. And until then, I'm Ben Amos from Engage Video Marketing, and it's my role to help you engage your ideal audience to action through effective video marketing. Bye for now.